What if I told you that the person Allah has written for you may already be in your life, but you're too distracted to recognize them? Not every sign comes with fireworks. Sometimes, divine signs whisper through the quietest of moments. And if you don't learn to listen, you might miss your qadar walking right past you. This isn't just a love story. This is about spiritual alignment, about sensing your destined partner before the world even realizes what's happening. So stay with me, because in this video, we'll reveal 7 divine signs Allah gives to your heart when you're close to the one you're meant to be with. Oh, and spoiler alert, if you think it's about butterflies in your stomach, you're going to be disappointed. Butterflies die in 2 days. Allah gives you something far deeper. Point 1. The yearning isn't yours. Aloniov been praying, waking up before Fajr, sinking into the floor in sujood, whispering between tears, Ya Allah, where is the one you've written for me? Why does it still feel so far away? But here's what most people overlook. That yearning you feel may not be yours alone. It might actually be Allah calling you forward. Not to chase a person, but to prepare for a responsibility. No servant supplicates with a dua, except that Allah gives it to them, or averts harm from them, equal to it. To me so, when that ache for companionship pierces deep, understand, it's not just a feeling, it's a sign. A stirring of your soul that something sacred is near. A divine pull, urging you to grow into the person who can protect the amana of another soul. Because marriage in Islam isn't about completing desires, it's about completing faith. Marriage is part of my sunnah. Whoever does not follow my sunnah is not from me. Ibn Majah. If you're yearning, if you feel a deep longing that doesn't fade with distraction, know this, it's not desperation, it's preparation. Allah is softening your heart. He's chiseling your character. He's teaching you patience, empathy, humility, so that when your person arrives, you don't just recognize them, you deserve them. But here's the beauty. The person you're meant to meet, they may be praying the same prayer tonight. They may be aching in sujood too, and your du'as are slowly walking toward each other. So don't rush the story. Just respond to the yearning. Use it to become whole before you're joined. Because when Allah finally brings hearts together for His sake, it's never rushed. It's right. And when it's right, you'll realize the wait wasn't punishment. It was Allah writing love with His own hands. Point 2. Their presence calms your chaos knot. Every love begins with fireworks. Not every soul arrives in your life with noise, drama, or grand gestures. Sometimes, the one Allah sends enters like a soft breeze. Not to stir your world, but to settle it. Ever noticed how some people drain your energy, while others restore it? Some conversations leave you feeling lost. Others leave you anchored. That's the difference between someone who's meant for your dunya and someone who's meant to walk with you toward Jannah. Allah says in the Quran, and among His signs is that He created for you from yourselves mates, that you may find tranquility in them. Surah Ar 30 minutes and 21 seconds. That word sakin isn't ordinary. It means deep calm, stillness, divine peace. When they speak, your mind stops racing. When they listen, your heart feels seen without performance. When you're around them, you're not on edge. You're more you than you've ever been. And here's the subtle truth. Sakina isn't about excitement, it's about alignment. It's not the butterflies. It's not the fireworks. It's the feeling that your soul can rest beside theirs. So yes, being able to eat biryani in front of them without judgment is nice. But the real sign, it's when their presence makes you want to pray on time. Fix your habits. Clean up your soul. Return to Allah with sincerity. Because when Allah sends someone for you, they don't just fit into your life. They elevate your life. They don't distract you from your path. They walk it with you. And that, right there, isn't just love. It's mercy. It's a sign. And it's the kind of connection that the dunya can't offer, because it was written by the one who owns both hearts. Point 3. The signs begin to align around youth. This is where things get eerie, but not in a scary way. In a divine way. You start hearing their name in Qudbus. You open Instagram, there's a post that feels like it was written for your exact heart. You hear a story that mirrors your own. You scroll past a verse from the Quran, and it stops you because it speaks directly to your confusion. Coincidence? No, it's divine choreography. It's the subtle hand of Allah arranging scenes behind the curtain of your life. Not forcing, not shouting, just gently aligning, nudging you forward. Indeed, Allah is subtle with His servants. Surah Ash-Shura, 42 minutes and 19 seconds. Allah's way is not always loud. He rarely gives you the full map, but He will light the next 2 steps and then whisper through your fitra, "Will you trust me and walk forward?" You see, when something is written for you, it starts moving toward you. Not just physically, but spiritually, emotionally, energetically. People you haven't spoken to in years mention their name. The dua you once made in tears suddenly resurfaces in the exact moment you feel peace. Even your dreams begin to hint at what's coming. But here's the challenge. Signs can be missed when your heart is loud with fear, because Allah may be speaking to you through patterns, but if you're too distracted, too impatient, too addicted to control, you'll miss the subtle guidance that was meant to lead you to your qadar. That's why Allah doesn't just give you signs, He also humbles your heart so you can receive them. So don't brush off the repeated ayah. Don't ignore the coincidences. Don't silence the whisper that says, "This is bigger than you think." Because when the signs begin to align, it's not just life falling into place. It's Allah softly unfolding the next chapter of your divine story. 4. Fear tries to make you miss it. Here's the paradox of divine love. Doesn't always feel safe in the beginning. Sometimes the person you're meant to be with will challenge your wounds, mirror your weaknesses, and force you to grow. And you might confuse that growth pressure as a red flag. But the truth, you're not scared of them. You're scared of what Allah is trying to awaken in you through them. The fear of vulnerability, the fear of being seen, the fear of being loved right. If everything in your life feels like it's shifting when they come near, it might not be a disruption, it might be a divine preparation. Remember, growth is painful, but so is staying stuck in harem texting loops with someone who only sends you emojis and false promises. 5. They bring you closer to Allah without preaching here. The biggest sign that people overlook. The person you're meant to be with doesn't just love you, they love your soul. They care about your istikhara. They won't push you to change, but you'll want to be better around them. Why? Because their own love for Allah radiates so bright. It ignites your own. The Prophet said, when Allah loves a person, He calls Jibril and says, "I love so-and-so, so you love him." Then the people of the heavens and the earth are made to love him. Bukhari. That's how powerful real God-written love is. It doesn't beg for loyalty, it inspires it. But how do you know you're not just imagining all this? That it's not just wishful thinking? There's a hidden test Allah gives before revealing the truth. 6. You get pulled apart. Before you're brought together, Allah will often test you with separation before giving you union. Why? To burn off attachment, to burn off ego, to burn off illusion. The one meant for you will return not because of attachment, but because Allah Himself preserved that connection. Sometimes you have to grow apart to grow up. And when the timing aligns, again it'll feel effortless. No chasing, no games. Don't fear the pause. Fear only the ignorance of what it's preparing you for. Besides, if they ghost you for 8 months and come back saying, "Hey, stranger," that's not divine timing. That's divine blocking. Let it go. Point 7. You feel a knowing you can't explain. This is the moment where language fails, where logic steps aside, and the heart just knows. You meet them, maybe in person, maybe in conversation, maybe through prayer, and something inside you goes quiet, not out of fear, but because it's finally at peace. Not a rush, not butterflies, not obsession, just this subtle, sacred stillness. Like your soul sighs and says, "I could build with this person. I can walk to Jannah." With them, it's not fantasy, it's fitra. The natural, uncorrupted voice of your soul recognizing something, or someone, it was created to move toward. And here's the thing, this knowing doesn't scream. It doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't need a checklist or 1,000 signs, because when it's real, it doesn't demand clarity from others. It gives you clarity within yourself. It's like the du'as you once whispered start echoing back through this person's presence. Not because they're perfect, but because they're aligned. And alignment in Islam isn't about finishing each other's sentences. It's about finishing salah side by side. It's about correcting each other's recitation with love. It's about growing your deen, not just your emotions. As one beautiful quote says, real love doesn't ask you to abandon your deen, it invites you to expand it. So, if you feel that knowing, that calm, quiet, sacred certainty, don't dismiss it, but also, don't celebrate too soon, because even if you sense the one Allah wrote for you, that knowing means little. If you don't walk with discipline, boundaries, and tawakul, sensing the qadar is not the same as securing it. Now comes the test. Will you honor what Allah showed you, or rush what Allah is still preparing? Because knowing it's them is not the end of the story. It's just the divine beginning. 8. Sense is only the first step. Now comes sabr. Cognition is not possession. Feeling they're the one doesn't mean Allah will give them to you immediately. Why? Because now comes the greatest test. Sabr. Will you wait with dignity? Will you prepare your character, your deen, your discipline? Allah doesn't unite people who are perfect. He unites people who are ready. And no, just because you both like sunsets and pistachio ice cream does not mean Allah wrote them for you. Compatibility starts in values, not vibes. 9. Let Allah confirm, not your ego. When you think they're the one, you'll want to force it. You'll want signs, answers, closure. But Allah's answers are often in silence, ease and clarity, not obsession. If you have to beg for attention, clarity, or commitment, that's not qadar. That's your nafs holding on. Instead, pray istikhara, step back. Let Allah close or open the door, because when it's the right one, even the mountains between you won't matter. And when it's wrong, even proximity won't create peace. Closing, if you're watching this, it's not random. Maybe Allah is already preparing your heart, and the person He's chosen for you is being refined in silence, just like you. So don't chase, don't obsess, get ready. Prepare your soul, and when they arrive, you'll recognize the signs, because your heart will whisper what your mind cannot explain. If this video touched your heart, I want you to go even deeper. Watch this next one on the power of compounding and how your small daily choices are building your qadar, brick by brick.